We're here with Charles to talk about Popo and Yo. Hi, Charles. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, thank you. You too?
Good. Can you tell us about Popo and Yo?
Yes, so Popo Yo is a 3D adventure puzzle game in which you play as Kiko, a little South American boy who lives in a poor region and also has a difficult relationship with his father. So to deal with the difficulties of life, he invents an imaginary world and imaginary friends. So it's kind of the story of the game, and basically it's a puzzle game in which you interact with the different environments to solve puzzle and progress to the game, and eventually find a cure for your friend Monster who has an addiction for frogs.
An addiction for frogs?
Yes, this addiction and the monster character is a metaphor because this game is inspired from a true story from our creative director, Vander Caballero.
I was going to ask how the story came about when you said addicted to frogs.
Yes, obviously it's metaphoric, but the game creator, Vander, was also originating from South America, had a similar kind of childhood, poor, difficult relationship with his father, so he wanted to tell a bit of his own story through the game. Obviously, it's not the prominent element of the game, but you will get to learn about it a bit.
What inspired you to make a game based off of a true story?
Yes, it's something that's kind of unusual, I would say. You don't see that quite often in video games. Yes, so obviously the main gameplay of the game, the prominent thing is the platforming puzzle adventure. But the inspiration to the game is basically we're a small group of people that had previous experience in other developers, and Vander Caballero always had the dream of actually making a game to tell about his own story. So basically we decided to find a great twist on it, and we think it adds something pretty great to the experience.
With a story like that, how does the atmosphere of the game feel?
The atmosphere is like really variable through the whole game as you progress. It's really an experience that's worth playing through without knowing too much of the game. You go, you play, and you go through a different set of emotions. So we think that the actual gameplay is really great by itself, but there's also a really emotional story arc that's tied into it. You get to discover as you play, which makes the whole experience even more interesting.
So would you say that it's a very heavy story, or is it at least a more lighthearted story?
It's a pretty heavy story, but told in a nice way. So I would say imagine kind of the. No, it's not too depressing. It's kind of we took a kind of a Pixar approach, where I mean it's playable by also younger people. It's not too heavy, but it's a nice story arc that you kind of discover.
Can you tell us more about the gameplay?
Yeah, so the actual gameplay is about interacting with magical elements in the world to solve different puzzles by exploring, figuring out what to do. So one good example that I like to give is eventually you arrive to a certain area of a level where you have to cross over a river, and you see some small boxes underground. You try using them, and you discover that it actually moves real part of the environment, real houses in the world, and you build a bridge out of it. This is kind of an example, but there will be plenty of different puzzle-solving magical element like that. And on top of that, there is an interaction with your friends.
Your imaginary friends?
Imaginary friends. Monster and Lula will help you, progress, interact with them, solve puzzle. So it gets pretty interesting.
Is there any online component to this game?
There is not. The game is really meant to be a solo, one-player experience. It's more like a single-play, cinematic, interactive experience.
Are there different ways to solve the puzzle, or is there only one direct way?
No, there's actually, in certain puzzles, there is multiple ways to solve them. Obviously, the story is more linear because it's kind of a complex story to tell. But there is, really often more than one way to solve the puzzle.
So there's replay value in the puzzle?
Yes, absolutely. There's also some elements to discover in the game. We have collectible hats if you go and explore around, you can find some special hats. There's plenty of stuff that kind of reward exploring as well.
Well, it sounds really cute. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about Popo Yo?
I think it's coming out on PSN in 2012, later this year. We'll be also at E3 if you want to come and try it. And we think it's really an original, interesting experience that people don't get to see often right now.
Thank you so much, Charles.
Thank you very much.